the one series I wanted to see the pricing on was Golden State and Sacramento, which is what we get in the 3-6. Danny, have you seen these prices yet? Have you seen them yet?
Not for the Golden State series.
So
no,
I want you
haven't.
to fancy a guess of where DraftKings came down on with that.
Okay, let me tell you. For the Kings and the Warriors, I'm going to say that they have the Warriors like minus 150. Or I might even be a little bit low on that, honestly. Okay, I'll say minus 150 for the Warriors. What do they got them at?
So I was even a little bit surprised by this number as well. But based off of what the game one line is, I'm not overly shocked now after seeing that. Golden State is almost a $3 favorite here, Danny.
$3 favorite? Okay.
Minus 290 on Golden State. Plus 225 on the take back for the Kings. Now, this series starts Saturday. Kings are a 1-point underdog at home in game one, by the way, Danny. And we know the issue with Golden State this year was they were the worst road team of any reasonable team really in the last 20 years in the NBA. The only teams with worse road records this year than them were the three worst teams in the NBA, Danny Burke. That's Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio. And those are the other teams worse away from home. Golden State had to win their last two road games to get to 11-30 away from Chase Center. So, look, I think Golden State's the second best team in the Western Conference. I think behind Phoenix, they are the most likely to make the NBA Finals. But, Danny, this price is awfully juicy on Sacramento at plus 2.25. With home court, yes, they have a ton of defensive problems. Yes, they are going against the defending champions who know how to win in the playoffs with a team with basically no playoff experience except for former Golden State Warrior Harrison Barnes. Shout out Harrison Barnes, who's still doing his thing in Sacramento. But this is kind of juicy here on the Kings against Golden State. And, yes, I understand, hey, I could be going with the square angle of the 3 seed shouldn't be a dog against the 6. That's not my argument. My argument is we're dealing with the fourth worst road team in the NBA, having to play potentially 4 road games in an awfully difficult place to win. Plus 225, I'm going to see if this gets higher, but that might not be a bad starting point for Sacramento at a series price here.
Yeah, and even if you want to add a little bit more security, you can do the series spread, right?
Yes.
Catching a game and a half, catching 2. You can always kind of filter in those.
Danny, to say that real quick, getting a game and a half plus 135. That might actually be the better route there. That might be the better route than the series price.
Sure. And yeah, even me saying mine, like realistically, I probably should have said about like minus 170, minus 175. I am a little appalled that it's close to as high as a $3 favorite. And no, it's not me saying that I believe the Kings are going to win this series. But like you said, I mean, you have to take into account the struggles that Golden State has had on the road. It is impossible to ignore that. And then the counter can be, well, they're just waiting to flip the switch come postseason time. Are they going to flip that switch? Is that going to happen? Because they've had postseason-like games on the road in this ending stretch where it hasn't gone too well. And the game that I think about in particular was against the Nuggets, where the Nuggets didn't even have Jokic. I think it was last weekend, and the Warriors fell short. Now, they had a chance to win it at the buzzer, but it was kind of a fluky ending. They really shouldn't have been that close. But nevertheless, this Golden State team from the offseason to where Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole to this team dealing with injuries to having no success on the road, factor that in with just how hard it is to replicate a championship in the NBA, having a mark on you because you're the champions. And if you want to call it a hangover, whatever it is, so be it. I don't have as much faith in this Warriors team as I've had in other years. And it's not saying anything outlandish like a lot of people would apply that.
Very outlandish, Danny. Come on now.
I mean, look, I was all over the Warriors last year. I loved them in the playoffs and, cashed some bets with them winning the championship. But this year, as much talent as they still have, the signs have been there all season long, Jeff. So, yeah, I think realistically they get past the Kings because the Kings are one of those teams that are just going to end up being an awesome regular season team. But in the playoffs, they don't have that experience and they play no defense. So the Warriors will get the job done. But past that, I'm not looking to bank my money on Golden State. I get why people are enamored with them because it's Steph Curry. It's still Klay Thompson. You're getting Wiggins back. I understand, but the red flags have been there all season, and I'm going to take those as signs, and I'm going to look to stay away from Golden State, Jeff.
By the way, the game one total, Danny, is 237.5, which is right because, as you mentioned, the Kings that's the biggest holdup here of potentially taking a full-on win the series price with Sacramento. Their defense is awful, awful defensively. And Golden State still has the offense and the offensive talent to make a bad defense pay. So, hey, look, it'll be interesting. Again, if whoever gets a 7 seed, and I think it's going to be the Lakers, if they're able to take out Memphis and you end up with Golden State in the 6-7 with home court, then it's a whole different handicap, Danny. Whole different handicap if you give Golden State a home court in any series in this postseason, which realistically would only be against a 7 seed because I don't see an 8 seed coming out of the top of the Western Conference bracket.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.